Hey, it's Poisonous. Welcome back, Lorcana players. This video is going to talk about a new deck I've been brewing. It's a deck that relies on a couple combos and has the potential to win as a mid-range deck, and also has the potential to win as a mill deck. So let's take a look at the deck list. I've posted a link to Dreamborn in the description of the video as well. This deck has a lot of different shift lines. So we're running the 1-drop Mickey with Resist to help with survivability against the early game of Steel Song and the discard deck when they shift Diablo. We're running Morph for all the different shifts that we have in this deck. We have the Beast, Mickey Mouse, and Tinkerbell as possible shift targets for Morph. We're also running 4 of the small Hercules and 2 of the bodyguard Hercules. These cards are there to enable a combo with Megara. We're also running Pete. Pete's a great card at shutting down actions, especially around the use of Whole New World to prevent your opponent from having big swing turns. We're running the Muses and lots of songs to get lots of bounce effects. We're running Meg, who has Ward, and she has an ability that each time you play a Hercules, you can ready her and she can quest again or sing again or challenge again. So we're really trying to use that effect to get the most possible value out of this deck. We're running Sad Beast strictly because the deck doesn't have a lot of card draw, so sometimes you need extra card draw to get you to your Whole New Worlds. We're running the shift for the Mickey. We're also running Lady Tremaine. Lady Tremaine is here to retrieve those action cards to enable the mill effect, so you can bring back a Whole New World or You're Welcome, or whatever action card is probably most useful in that situation. And she's a 6 cost, so she leaves a body on the board that can sing songs on the next turn. We're also running Tinkerbell as another shift line, and she's also there to help deal with aggro and fight for some board control. Tinkerbell's a great card overall. For songs, we're running Strike a Good Mat. This is just in here for card draw. Because it's a mill deck, you do need to be careful to stop using the card draw once you start hitting your Whole New World cycles, so that way you don't mill yourself before your opponent. But sometimes you cannot hit those Whole New Worlds when you need them, so Strike a Good Match is a nice way to dig ahead. You can also discard something. If you have 2 Whole New Worlds in hand, then you can throw one into your discard and, replace it with something that might be a little more useful. Do It Again is also here to retrieve an action card from your discard. Smash is there to offer another form of removal. It can take care of Diablo at the Cove or lots of other 3 willpower characters. You're Welcome is a really important part of this deck because it allows you to remove items, characters, or locations and give your opponent kind of forced card draw, which will help you mill them faster and also deal with, pesky things like the Queen's Castle. Along Came Zeus. We're just running 1 copy, but it's a song that can be sung by the Muses and also helps you remove characters and locations. Running 4 We Don't Talk About Bruno, 4 Whole New World, and 2 Grab Your Sword. These are all cards that can be very useful in dealing with your opponent's board. And we're running 1 copy of Emerald Chromacon. This makes it very hard for your opponent to remove your characters. You can keep bouncing things back to their hand, so when you play a Whole New World, you might be able to maximize the value by getting them to discard the most amount of cards and mill them out faster. This deck is a combo deck. It requires a few different pieces to really be the most effective. So I just want to highlight a few of the, most important combos that you want to be looking for. The big one is Meg. Meg is a 5 cost 4/4 with Ward. So she's very hard for a lot of decks to remove when she's not exerted, so she's able to survive and sing songs for you. She also has a 4/4 body, so she doesn't die to things like Big Sisu unless they have a way to lower the strength of all characters. Her big combo play is with Hercules. Every time you play a Hercules, you can ready her, and because it's an unrestricted ready, it means that she can quest multiple times per turn, or she can challenge multiple times per turn, or in this case, another very useful outlet is that she can sing multiple songs per turn. So you can have her sing a Whole New World. If you draw into Hercules, you play the Hercules, she readies, and then you could sing another 5-cost song, even a Whole New World again. Or there's also times where you get her down on the board and she can just quest for 2 or 3 times in a turn and really get you a lot of lore out of nowhere. Or she can attack something like Queen's Castle multiple times in a turn in order to remove it. So the Hercules Meg combo is definitely the most powerful part of this deck. If you get multiple Hercules or multiple Megs, then you can really go off. Another important combo is with Muses. Muses is a great piece because it lets you return opponents' characters when you play a song, but it also lets you return return your own characters to your hand. So you could play Lady Tremaine, return an action card to your hand. When you play a song, you can then bounce Lady Tremaine back to your hand so you can play her again and retrieve another action. So you can keep cycling You're Welcome as an example. Muses can also bounce your small Hercules back to your hand. So if you're looking for a way to readying your Meg, you can just keep bouncing Hercules back to your hand each time that you play a song or have your characters sing a song, so you can enable the combo over and over again. Another, frequent part of this deck is the use of You're Welcome to send all your opponent's cards back to their deck and have them draw more. And then ideally you want to play a whole new world, so you can basically get them to throw out all of those cards and lose that card advantage that you're giving them and forcing them to mill faster. And the last combination is a pretty common one in a lot of decks, but a whole new world followed up with a Pete, so they're not able to play actions out of their new hand, can be very strong and really, lock them down. So they're not able to get a lot of value before you maybe get a chance to play a whole new world again on your next turn. So let's take a look at some gameplay. The first game is a match on Pixelborn that I played against a Steel Song deck, and this video is here just to highlight how strong it is when you have Meg on the board and she can't be easily removed, and then you can keep questing her with the Hercules ready effect. This game is already kind of at the halfway point. They've established a large board with Chen Po, a couple daisies, and a Naveen. We're gonna have the Muses sing You're Welcome. To remove the Chen Po, get shuffled in their deck and they draw 2 cards. We have our Meg set up on board as well. We use a Muse trigger to send the upright daisy back to their hand. They draw their 2 cards, and then Meg challenges and removes the daisy duck. We pay 3 for Hercules as a bodyguard to ready Meg. We play Emerald Chromacon. We're just emptying our hand out before we sing Whole New World. We cast the Whole New World, causing them to discard all of the cards that they just drew off of the You're Welcome and the bounced daisy that we sent back to their hand, leaving them a much smaller board and refilling our hand. We draw our new hand. We ink the Muses. We play Hercules, allowing us to ready Meg again, and in this case we just quest her out for 2. The opponent plays a Pete and a Cinderella. They're trying to prevent us from using any actions. They sing Strength, removing our bodyguard Hercules, but now they don't have a character to challenge into the Meg with, so she should be safe from anything that they can do. The Chromacon is used to bounce the Naveen back to their hand. Now it's our turn. We play another Meg. Play a Mother Gothel, and we play Mickey. We ink the Muses. We're just building up a board and as many resources as we can. I do have a Hercules in my hand here, so I am setting up with the Megs to try and get a lot of value on the next turn, which is why I don't quest with the Meg. I'm worried that they're gonna trade into it with Pete. When next turn I can quest both Megs and play the Hercules to exert them both for multiple lore. They shift Cinderella. This character is definitely something that we have to worry about. It would give them the option to challenge a ready character such as Meg. However, they choose to challenge the Muses. I think they're tired of me bouncing their small characters back to their hand using Muses, but because they challenged the Muses, we're able to use the Emerald Chromacon and send the big Cinderella back to their hand. They play out their small characters and pass turn, and now we're set up to really go crazy with our questing. quest with all of our characters, gaining 7 lore. For 2, we play Hercules, we ready both Megs, quest again, getting 4 more lore. And our top deck was actually another Hercules here, which allowed us to ready and quest them out again. So in one turn, the Megs were able to get us 12 lore and really blow the game wide open. And they're very hard to remove because of their ward effect. In this game, we're gonna play a matchup against a red-blue control deck. And in a deck like this, our strategy is going to be to try and mill them out. So they start off by inking Tamatoa, playing a Popsicle, and drawing. We definitely want them to draw as much as possible. We didn't have a turn 1 play, but we do play a Hercules on turn 2 to get a body down. They play a Tipo and ramp. We ink We Don't Talk About Bruno, and we play a Pete. We're not really concerned about them playing actions at this point, but we just need to keep playing bodies on curve here, build up a board that might try and cause some pressure. They play a Hiram and draw 2 cards. The Hiram is a card that will definitely help aid us in milling them. We ink Smash, and we play the Muses, setting up to be able to bounce some of their characters, and we quest with our 2 dry characters. Play another Popsicle, draw. They quest with Hiram, destroy the Popsicle, and draw more. This is definitely what we like to see. They have Tipo sing 1 jump. This does help them ramp, but it is taking cards from their deck and contributing to the mill. They play a Fishbone Quill, and they ink another card, and pass. We ink Mickey, and we have the Muses sing You're Welcome. I do target the Hiram here. It probably could be left on the board in hopes that they would get more items with it, but it is going in their deck to try and get them to draw it later. We use the Muses effect to bounce Tipo into their hand, and now we hard cast a Whole New World. Both cards in my hand were a Whole New World, so it's nice to cycle into some new cards. We take a look at what they're throwing out, and we draw 7 fresh ones. Quest out with our 2 characters and pass. They play Sisu, they want to get rid of our Muses, and this also gets our Hercules. They ink a Fishbone Quill and pass. We ink Beast. At this point, they're gonna usually have Medusa in hand, so playing a character like that isn't gonna be very useful. We do play Meg, which will be very hard for them to deal with because of the 4 strength and ward. And then we quest with Pete. They have their Sisu sing Be Prepared. I guess they're scared what the Meg could possibly do. Now they play Grammatala. Again, cards like this that are letting them draw more cards from their deck are helpful for our strategy. At this point, they probably don't realize that we're playing for mill. Now they play Hiram, destroy their Fishbone Quill, and draw more. And pass their turn. We draw, we play another Muses. We Incomorph. And we play Strike a Good Match. Allows us to draw 2 cards and discard a card. We discard a morph, we use the Muse effect to bounce Hiram back to their hand. That way if they do want to use it to draw more cards, they at least have to spend their ink. It reduces their tempo. They have Grammatala sing How Far I'll Go. Once again, they're gaining ink, but they're also drawing more cards. This takes 2 cards out of their deck. They play Fishbone Quill, ink again, and then they play Hiram to destroy the quill. So they're really going crazy on the card draw, which is one of the great things about playing red-blue. But in this case, it's going to be playing right into our strategy. Another Grammatala, pushing things along even further. They play out an Ice Block and pass turn. Pay 5 for Beast, 1 for Mickey, and we ink Hercules. The Beast is likely going to be an easy target for removal here, but we are just trying to play cards until we can cycle into another whole new world and keep milling them. They play a Tamatoa, they return a Popsicle, which is something that's good to see because we know that they're going to play the Popsicle and likely banish it with Hiram, drawing a total of 3 cards. They do Ice Block the Beast, and then they Brawl Beast to remove him. So, like I said, against any red deck past turn 6, you can expect that cards like Beast or Robin Hood are going to get removed pretty much all the time. So we shift our Mickey, we ink You're Welcome. We would like to play it here, preferably on Tamatoa, but we are starved for resources. We want to be able to get back a whole new world this turn and sing it. So we have to ink the You're Welcome, and then Mickey sings a whole new world that was retrieved from the discard by Lady Tremaine. At this point, now that they've seen the Lady Tremaine, they might be aware that we're going to try and mill them, so they may change their habits and start drawing less. They do it again, and Lady Tremaine are usually kind of flags to your opponent that you might be running a mill deck. We bounce the Hiram using the Muses effect, and then we pass turn. They play Maui, taking out our Mickey. They play another Fishbone Quill, inking again. Another Ice Block. They play Vision of the Future, allowing them to look at the top 5 cards of their deck and pull something useful. And they play a little Sisu, targeting the Lady Tremaine, who only has 1 strength. And then they quest with their Grammatalas. They also quest with Tamatoa, allowing them to bring back an item. Bring back another Ice Block and play it. At this point, they're in a kind of danger zone where they can win the game because Tamatoa can quest for so much with all the items that they have on board. So we do need to try and finish them off this turn with mill, or we need to be able to remove the Tamatoa. So we ink a Meg. We play We Don't Talk About Bruno on the Tamatoa to remove it. They end up discarding their entire hand because we hard cast a whole new world. And at this point, they only have 2 cards left in their deck. We use the Muses to send the little Sisu back to their hand. They quest with their Grammatalas. I think they are realizing that the game is pretty much over, with only 2 cards left in their deck and no immediate win con in their hand. So they play out a Maleficent Dragon. It doesn't have any effect because they can't choose the Muses. Play out the Sisu and Tipo. And pass. So at this point we do have the whole new world in hand, which mills them and we take the win. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you liked the deck. Please like and subscribe. Cheers.